40.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Wine Vault Radio with Jason Bryant from winevaulttv.com.
Yes, Jason Bryant, indeed. Wine Vault TV, that's where he reviews straight away, opens a bottle, reviews the wine, and gives his thoughts. Very honest thoughts. Very, very well worth checking out, Wine Vault TV. But sometimes he comes in, well, every Friday, really. It's a regular thing. Jason Bryant, and does an episode of Wine Vault Radio instead. Jason, good morning.
Good morning, Wammo.
How are you? How's your week been?
Pretty exciting. Yeah, just
wheeling and dealing.
Exactly, ducking and diving and skiving. I was just going to talk about the Pinot Love Fest that they had down in Wellington this week.
Now, I only heard that there was some kind of Pinot thing because there was a guy from Top Gear or a friend of the guy from Top Gear.
Friend of the guy from Top Gear, Oz Clark, who did a little series about travelling through France and the Old World.
I saw a bit of that.
Yeah, and then they went and did one in the Napa.
I kind of half liked that series and I kind of half annoyed by it because of the Top Gear guy, which I actually quite like, and I like his new toy show. I think it's great, but it just this whole like, this is dumb, what are we doing kind of thing the whole time, and it's like, well...
But for the layperson, I think it's actually like that. If they went along on a wine journey with a wine critic, slash snob, slash enthusiast, slash passionate guy, you would have that... You would be being like that. You'd go, okay, I can't understand all the words that he's using and the descriptions and everything like that. Like I'm tasting it from...
Smelly cheese.
Smelly cheese, and there's a kind of feminine curl to the palate. And... And they
Go on, give us a few more.
They wouldn't understand that, and so kind of having someone who obviously knows a bit about wine, but
you've opened a bottle already.
I am. I'm cracking it. It's good for the public to see someone else using their words.
Yeah,
right. He wouldn't use kind of like crossing the flowery meadow, kind of because you get all those aromatics and florality from that wine. He would go, yeah, it smells like when I was a kid in a cornfield or something. Something that everybody can really relate to, because the problem with wine critics, they're always trying to come up with a descriptive that no one else has used before.
Yeah.
And
reminds me of an interview I had a little bit earlier on this morning with a musician, Ryan McFun. Great new album from the Ruby Sons. And I was trying to describe his song, and perhaps in a wine-like type context. And the song ended up being riding bareback on a giraffe through the grassy meadows in Africa. Bit silly, really.
Do you know, that reminds me of a children's book.
Does it?
Yeah.
What, a jungle story?
A jungle story or something like that, where kind of a little Tarzan, baby Tarzan or something, where he's swinging through the vines and land on a giraffe and goes plowing through a field and... Yeah,
and Ryan looked at me like, you tosser.
Yeah, but you know, everybody's searching for something, a way of describing a wine that no one else has used before to make them unique. And I truly believe that 99% of the population are just looking for something that they can anchor on.
Yeah,
and they can go, that's it.
Yeah,
for me, and because 99% of the population don't actually care too much about the wine. To break it down as much as we do.
They just want to know if it's drinkable or not, right?
They want to know whether it's good.
And going to enjoy it.
And if it's going to go with like a barbecue or chicken or something like that.
Yeah.
They just want to know whether they're going to get a good value bottle of wine.
Yeah. Actually,
and it has a bit of a story.
When are we going to do that? We're going to do some matching of like fast foods.
Yeah.
That was one thing we were going to do.
Yeah, I think we started. Should we do that next week?
Yeah, if you like.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll bring in some Mickey D's and...
Thursday next week.
Thursday.
Oh, maybe Wednesday. I'm away Friday.
Another long weekend.
Explore, mate. Explore.
The life of a radio DJ.
But anyway, getting back to what we're talking about, the guy Oz was
Oz
here
Clark.
For
There were quite a lot of people. There were Oz Clark, Neil Martin from Robert Parker, who's probably... Robert Parker's one of the biggest critics in the world, and he decides whether your winery sinks or floats, pretty much.
Okay,
he has that much power.
Yeah.
Then there was Tim Aitken, and Rebecca Gibb was down there, I believe. She's another decanter rider. So quite a lot of people from the UK. Jamie Good as well. He writes a blog called Wine Anorak.
Are these like the superstars of the wine world?
They're pretty much the wine critics, apart from Robert Parker and Gary Vaynerchuk not being there, and probably Jancis and Michael Broadbent and Hugh Johnson. It's the rest of the I was going to say Twitterati, and it's the wrong word. It's the Winerati or whatever.
Is there some snobbery towards the new media wine writers, critics, videographers?
Yeah. Yeah, because we're still stuck in that kind of printed word era at the moment, where everything comes out in a printed format.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're stuck there at the moment, and kind of like there are a few people that are actually really pushing forward for that kind of whole social media kind of way of distributing content.
Yeah.
And then there are others that, because it pays their bills, and that's the way they've always done it. And yeah,
it's going to change. It'll change. Tell you, it'll change. You don't hold much promise.
No, I don't. I think that all mediums will remain.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I think people's perception
will
change.
But things over time become more fractured, more.
I think it's going to be more niche,
more democratic. There's power to the few.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and so kind of like if you're in that space now and you're able to really kind of occupy that space, like we're trying to do New Zealand domination.
Trying something here.
Yeah, exactly. Moana Park shortly. That's what we'll be trying. Merlot, Malbec, because that is our show.
Yeah.
I could talk all day about stuff like that.
Oh, and we will. Don't you worry about that.
This is Moana Park from Hawke's Bay. It's Dartmoor Valley and Gimlet fruit they have, and this is from the Gimlet. And Dan Barker, Barker is the winemaker. He also makes wine for Ashridge, whose wines I really, really like. And so Moana Park sent me this wine.
They said, get your nose into that.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, and they make very traditional kind of Bordeaux blends down in Hawke's Bay, which it's really good for, and also they make a Viognier and Sauvignon from out in the Dartmoor Valley, where it's a bit cooler climate, and so you retain some of that acidity. And then they make this Merlot Malbec.
Tell us about Malbec.
Malbec is the traditional grape used in Cahors wine, which is southwest France, near Madaran and in between, pretty much between the Med and the Atlantic coast. So, and it's their wine used to be the most expensive in the world, Cahors. It used to be called black wine, and it was shipped to around the globe as like paper wine.
Yep.
And it's really inky. And so you get that, an inky. It can be quite tannic if the vines are too young. So you get a nice big grip. And then obviously with Merlot, you kind of plump that out and you get that kind of plummy fruit, and it's a lot more soft and supple. And that's what you should be expecting in your glass.
So, since you've opened the bottle and poured 3 glasses, the room it's got a really nice smoky
you get
smell to it.
It'd be some of the barrel and some of the kind of Malbec fruit.
Yeah.
It does. It has a nice dusky, smoky jazz club kind of smell.
Almost like there's a bit of a whiskey on the nose.
Oh, whiskey Wammo. It's a nice little segue from the last article.
I did spend far too long yesterday trying whiskies in the whiskey shop in Auckland, figuring out what I was going to take up to food camp this weekend.
I've got to give a big shout out to Cape Campbell and Lobster Reef Wines for supporting food camp. That's my little my little plug for those guys. They came to the party and shipped it up there for free and did everything, became sponsors, and so it's good. And they make really good wine. It's
very dark as well.
It's dark.
You can't see through that.
This is darker than Joan Jett and her music kind of thing. This is really dark. It's got that real dark fruit on the nose as well. It's dark. It's like Darth Vader dark.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Deep dark.
Yeah. This is like Black Hole.
We're down in the hole.
There's a bit of bramble, bit of spice, almost a bit of cinnamon there, but then I get blackberry and I get that deep kind of cassis character on the nose. Now I'll give it a whirl.
Whoa. It's almost like a Syrah type.
You get that grippiness from the Malbec, that tannin. It's pretty firm tannin. For the deep dark kind of fruit on the nose and everything like that, it's quite light on the palate, but it lasts a long time and it grips. There's almost a bit of saltiness there as well for me, right at the back.
Like a little bit seaweedy.
Yeah, Yeah. Do you know that, like, that, is it nori seaweed?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I get.
Wow, that's real guts. You'd want
It's quite intense. It's really good barbecue wine. You want something either kangaroo or, if you can find it, bouncing around.
Something gamey.
Wallaby, something gamey. Venison. If you're on Cow, a bit of, what are those, little wallabies?
Wallabies, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. And, are we allowed to eat those?
Don't know.
No, probably not.
No? Why not?
Maybe a bit of kiwi.
They're introduced.
Bit of kiwi, I would think.
Yeah, bit of kiwi and a bit of weka.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing weka now, aren't we?
Well, I think it's...
Okay.
We're out of time.
Yes, anyway, that's Moana Park.